Hey everybody, my name is Phillip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. And today we're talking about 3 projects that literally no one's talking about that's happening in Bentonville, Arkansas. So let's talk about that. But before we begin, if you could like this video and also subscribe, that would make the world of difference. I try to produce as much content as humanly possible about Northwest Arkansas. Also, if you are thinking about moving down to Northwest Arkansas or coming down here, I have a 3-day itinerary link below. So maybe you're an adventurer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you have kids, maybe you're a sightseer, I don't know. But there's a 3-day itinerary link down below for you, that's for sure. So go ahead and download it and use it when you get down here. All right, so there are 3 things we need to talk about, and the first one is quite a doozy for Bentonville. And this has been in the works for a while. Like it's kind of like, it's known, but it's not that well known. And that is a development called Quilt of Parks. So the Quilt of Parks is basically a full redesign of the whole downtown section of Bentonville. Now it's going to include brand new parks. It's going to include an actual like amphitheater. It's going to include all new like a promenade so you can walk through businesses. It's going to include another park, of course. It's going to include places for everyone to hang out, and also like obvious seating areas and like obviously gardens, the whole shebang. So let me kind of walk through the plan with you, and we can kind of talk about what they're doing for the Quilt of Parks and what you can kind of expect to see in the future. Now, little asterisk. Whenever I bring people to Northwest Arkansas, or people come here and I meet with them, hang out for coffee at Onyx, of course, I always tell people, like, if you could buy property next to Apple headquarters or next to Google headquarters 15, 5, 10 years prior to it happening, would you? And the answer is always yes, because the whole area benefits from those areas, as we are seeing. So a lot of times when people come down here, there's a lot of construction going on, which is to be expected. But what will come of it in the future is by 2025 is going to be a major game changer for how businesses are ran, how things are done here, how things are actually done across America, because Walmart headquarters is going to be so interesting of how they do things with the trail system and just kind of like leapfrogging other competitors, whether it's in the retail space or even in like the actual technology space. They're just doing things so better and different than how other people have done in the past. But long story short, this is going to be a major improvement for Bentonville. Obviously, the city is amazing as it is, but they're not stopping with, being good enough. They're not stopping at, complacency. They keep pushing the envelope of what a city should be and what they want the future to become. So without further ado, let's talk about the Quilt of Parks and go right to my screen. All right, so the first thing is that I'm going to leave the link below for this. Obviously, there's 3 different developments here, and I'll leave all 3 links below. But this is going to be Dave Peel Park. So if you don't know where Dave Peel Park is, right here is the square, and just adjacent to that is a kind of a vacant area. And so they're actually turning this into a huge play center for obviously for kids, family, everything over here. A lot of sitting areas, a lot of just places for family to hang out. And obviously they're doing this because they want it to be adjacent from the square, because the square is where everything happens in Bentonville. So that's gonna be the first project of the Quilt of Parks, and that's gonna be happening very soon. I know these projects are going to be start coming up here very shortly. I think they're going to start construction next year. Some of them, not all of them at the same time, but some of them. And then adjacent to that, a little farther down the road, they're going to be doing like a big activity center with a future city hall. So it's going to be like a little adjacent to the new Davie Park. And that's going to have like a big actual like amphitheater seating. So they're going to have performances there. Again, bike trails, of course. What else would you expect from there? Now, this is where it gets interesting, because the fact that they're rebuilding and redoing the downtown section. Brick-laid roads right next to obviously like a promenade is going to happen there. New businesses, new structures, future developments. Now, this is going to be like Davie Park is kind of over here behind here, but this is where Truscan Trotter is. This is where obviously Trivoli is. And this is where there's a bunch of retail right here. Here's a square right here. So imagine walking down here, and this is going to be all new brick-laid roads right here. And then as you go down, they're kind of showing you different ways that they're looking at it. Here's Custom Trotter. This is what it's going to look like. Obviously, a lot of family areas, a lot of garden rooms, as they call them, urban canopies, obviously trees. That's a funny way of urban canopies. You mean trees? I mean trees, yes. Okay, so going down, so that's kind of like what they're redoing. So a lot of these roads are going to be redone. This is not just going to be strictly to this road. All the roads are going to be redone. Obviously, these are different ideas that they're working on. This is the same area, like maybe they're going to do it this way. So obviously, these are probably preliminary stuff, but let's move on to the Commons. So the Commons is going to be another adjacent park a little farther south from the square, but easy accessibility, of course. So rain gardens, big amphitheater, more performance stuff, all the different things. So obviously the idea here is that these are gonna have townhomes here, and they're starting to build out the idea of live, work, and play all in NWA, of course. And so a lot of development of stuff, people living around this area is gonna be a great place for people to live, work, and play, of course, especially for families. Now let's talk about something even more interesting that I find fascinating is the fact that they're redoing all the downtown section at some point. Now, I don't think this will all happen at once. Obviously, that'd be probably too much chaos for Bentonville, but they're going to be redoing everything, new roads, new everything, and kind of reshaping the space to make it more accessible and more available for people to walk through and drive through, stuff like that. So it's going to be, once again, a quote unquote even better place to hang out for friends and family. So this is going to be kind of the big scape of it. So redo downtown section right here. This is Davie Park. This is going to be another park over here they haven't talked about quite yet. This is going to be one of the parks we talked about before. This is where the amphitheater is. No, amphitheater is going to be down here. This is, and the ledger is right here. So amphitheater is going to be down here. And this is going to be another development right here. Plus, we have Lawrence Plaza over here, which is obviously current and working. And then we start going over here to the Compton Gardens, which leads to Crystal Bridges. And so this is going to be a whole new redesign of the downtown section of Bentonville. Obviously, they're growing it and increasing it as well with more parks, more bike trails, and everything else. And number 2 is 8th Street Gateway Park, obviously located in Bentonville, obviously located on 8th Street. And so let's jump over to my screen and show what they're going to do, where it's going to be located, and things you can kind of expect around the area. All right, so let's figure out where this place is going to be. So if you know Bentonville, let's talk about where the square is. So square is going to be right over here. And then the 8th Street Momentary is going to be right over here. So 8th Street Market right here. Walmart HQ is going to be all right here. And then we're going to scoot on over back this direction. Closer, so Crepes Paulette, we scoot over across actual Business 71, and right over here is going to be right over here in this area right here is going to be this brand new park. I'm not sure if they're going to go north of here as well, but I know that there's going to be the park is 100 acres, going to be right here, plus I think a little bit over here. But the thing that they're trying to do is connect all these trailheads, all trails all through here, to the actual Applegate Trailhead west, and then north into Kohler Mountain. So right up here, they're trying to get access to Kohler, of course. Obviously, there's access now, but it's all going to be reaching to one big thing, obviously. So let's jump over to see what the 8th Street Gateway Park is going to be about. So obviously, this is going to be a massive, massive redesign, and I'm super jazzed to see it happen. I know that they're starting progress here pretty soon. Once I think the ledger's finished up and they finish up these last couple projects, they're going to start on this right away. Obviously, as you can tell, plenty of urban canopies, but it's going to be a place for people to hang out. Very bike friendly, amphitheaters. They're going to have obviously events there. They're going to have food trucks there. So it's really going to be a fantastic, another place for people to hang out and enjoy the area. I'm sure that they're planning a lot of larger developments around the area for homes, just because it's going to be a major attraction. So obviously sand pits, interesting clocks over there. I'd be curious to see how that turned out. but I'm curious to see how this all shakes out. Obviously, a lot of overpasses to the area, but this is going to be a huge bike centric. I think this had like 15 or 20. I think I was reading about 15 or 20 miles of bike trails in here, so I'm pretty jazzed about that, of course. And then it's just going to be a really cool area. Once again, another attraction for people to hang out around Bentonville. So I'm cool to see how this all shakes out and see when they're starting to finish this up. I know that they want to finish it obviously by Bentonville 2025. So I assume that next year they're going to start progress and probably finish up in 2024. That's my guess. So I will keep in the loop of when those things get done. Whoa, before we jump on to the next thing that Bentonville is building out, let's talk about something I have brand new called Instant Home Updates. So maybe you're looking at like Realtor.com or Zillow and you're noticing that the notifications are way too slow, because they are way too slow. You miss so many homes and rentals that come on the market around here. So I made something called Instant Home Updates. So all you got to do is add your information below. So square footage, homes, bedrooms, whatever you're looking for, areas, obviously, and I'll make sure you don't miss a single rental or home in the area, and I'll make sure it goes right to your email literally right away. Also, if you want to keep up to date with all things Northwest Arkansas, enter your email below, because I send an email out every single Friday. So it talks about all the cool artists that are happening here, all the comedians, all the new businesses, all the cool things that are happening in Northwest Arkansas, whether it's the new symphony or if the new this or new that. It's always so many things going on in Northwest Arkansas. Enter your information below with your email. I'll make sure that you get that email every single Friday. A little bit of warning. You might get a little fear of missing out because you're going to want to come down here faster. So just kind of just to let you know. But I do promise that you'll be the most informed person when you get down here to Northwest Arkansas. All right, number 3 and the last one is probably the most unknown project, and it's very to be determined what's going to look like, but I'm excited because it's finally going to connect the actual Crystal Bridges to the museum and everything in between. So if you don't know, a museum and also Crystal Bridges are kind of right next to each other. They share a lot of the parking lots, they share a lot of the entrances, and so now they're actually making a big open area like land dedicated to connecting the two together. So obviously they're working more hand in hand over the course of years. They're currently at the moment they're finishing up a large 8-story basically parking lot to take away the parking from some of those areas, and so people can use that parking lot versus like a long flat parking lot. They're going to use a tall parking lot, and they're going to turn this land into more of a fun area for kids and kind of connect the areas together. So let's go to my computer and look at what they're going to be doing. All right, like I said, there is not much to go off here, but it looks like it's going to be a collaborative. Obviously, you can read right here, a collaborative play space between Crystal Bridges and the museum. But it's going to be over I think 2 or 3 acres dedicated to this, and they're going to connect the two together. So I'm assuming that obviously there's a creek that runs through Crystal Bridges and obviously the museum. So I'm guessing it's going to be along the trailheads and along the areas over there. Looks like they're going to add a lot of things for kids. Obviously, a lot of fun places to connect to, hang out there, and great for family and the usual that Bentonville loves to do. So just know that if you ever feel like the museum and Crystal Bridges are not connected, just know that it is in the works and is happening sooner than you think. And a little bit more information about the convergence area. Crystal Bridges is doing a major expansion currently. They're building the Alice Walton School of Medicine right there as well. They're finishing the 8-story parking lot. So when you're over there, you'll notice there's a lot of construction going on over there because they're building out for the next 2 years or so. The actual Crystal Bridges expansion is finishing up here probably next less than a year, and then the actual School of Medicine will be completed next year, I believe. They've got the structure laid out. They're moving right along quickly, and so the whole area is being redone pretty quickly. So I imagine that once those projects start buttoning up some of those things, they'll work on the convergence. So I imagine that sometime mid 2024, fall 2024, that'll be a project they kind of knock out pretty quickly because they have all the equipment there. They're just going to knock it out. I imagine it's be a pretty quick project between the museum and Crystal Bridges. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, if you are thinking about coming down to Northwest Arkansas, download my 3-day itinerary link below. Maybe you're an adventurer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you have kids, maybe you're a sightseer. There's a 3-day itinerary link down below for you. So go ahead and download it and use it when you get down here. Also, when you do come down here, I can give you the $10 tour so I can show you around the whole area. Plus, we can check out some homes for sale or for rent and see how far your dollar will go in Northwest Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. All right, guys, let's see you in the next one.